Okay. I got through with my walk today and my chatting with my inner being, so to speak, and just feeling different, feeling like I'm more zeroed in on who I am these last few days. I feel different. So any wonder that I actually have different thoughts. And I want to share a few of them with you this morning because I think for me, they were exciting. So maybe they will be for you. I don't know. But two things that I wanted to share today in the time that we have together. And that is one, I know I mentioned yesterday, my little chant or mantra. Well, there's a couple of them, right? Forget, allow, live in the now. Oh, that's actually a new one. Just live in the now. And I think that's one of the biggest keys. Joe Dispenza says it quite a bit. So does Eckhart Tolle, Abraham Hicks. Everybody says it. Now is the tool that we have. Now is what we have to work with. And what I have done, and I think most people do this, is that they bring up the past so that they can worry about it, even though it's the past. There are tools like amending the past and changing it in your mind, but that's a different topic. And then there's that elusive future, and I have tended in my past to live in this future that never arrives, thinking of the perfect time or one wonderful time that will be in that future. And as so many people say, the ones I've just mentioned among them, that future never arrives because we're trying to forecast into it, and it's beautiful, but it's not now. And unless we bring that future into our now, in at least in little ways, then it never comes to fruition. So that is what I've been thinking about more and more. It's been a constant, pervasive thought of what does it mean to live in now? That's where all of our power is now. So even as I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do today? And my brain starts to go, calculate out. And I think, well, wait a second. Bashar, if you haven't listened to Bashar, he's really useful, really helpful. But he talks about acting on your highest excitement. And you can only act in the now. And your highest excitement is whatever you really feel drawn to in that moment. And sometimes that can be obvious, right? The house is burning down. You need to put the fire out. That's probably your highest excitement, or you won't have a house. Or you might not have a you if you don't get out of the house. So that's an extreme example, obviously. It's funny, but thinking about what really works with you, what clicks with you. And so yesterday I had a lot of just things that just needed to be done and bills that needed to be paid. But I did the bill paying with an intent at the very start of my day, and that was, I said, whatever I do today, money-wise, let it be for my highest good, and let that money bless the lives of others and come back to me multiplied. And that's one of the things I've been learning about. Just taking an act that is not typically viewed as enjoyable and making it into a blessing. I mean, we're circulating wealth. it's a flow. So maybe that's kind of a subtopic of today, but anyway, that's what I was doing yesterday. But at the end of the day, when, my one business is people are done doing their deliveries and they're going back home, I can just kind of, okay, that one's kind of done. The other one's taken care of itself. It's a restaurant, and I've got good people running it, and it's going to keep running. So I'm going to focus on something different. And one of the things I wanted to focus on was revamping this website for my father. Not that revamping a website is particularly fun or useful or enlightening, although it is serving my parents, and I appreciate that. He wanted it to have some different functionality than it had, and they even offered to pay me, but it's just like, Mom and Dad, you've given me enough. They've helped us out a little bit in the past few months as I've kowtowed to my limitation and shortage thinking. Not overly, but they've helped us out a little bit, and I've appreciated that. I really have. So no need to pay me, right? But it was a means to exploring the tools in creating this website. I'm not a programmer. I have technical background and awareness, but I'm not a programmer. So I used some really cool AI tools, and they were fun. It was interesting, and I was learning. I implemented a lot of features that, granted, probably don't necessarily need on their little blog website. However, for me, it was the learning process, and after a few hours of work last night, I was so happy. I was just thrilled because I came away with this fully functional website. I deployed it. It's totally operational. My parents get to see it. And if they don't want all the bells and whistles, just take a few of them off. Not a big deal, but it's what I've learned from the process, and it's the expansion I've felt in myself. And it's what I can do now with the knowledge, understanding, and experience that I now have. Now, I could have filled my time last night with all sorts of other things that kind of seemed like they should be done, but instead I did this project. And I'm much happier having done that project, and those other things, they're still there. They haven't burned the house down. So, I'll take care of a few of them today. And I'll just count on the universe kind of giving me the perfect timing. So I'm learning to follow my highest excitement. And so that's, I think, living in the now, following your highest excitement. Those are some examples, and hopefully you've had some ideas spark as you've listened to me tell about my own experience. Another one that I wanted to share today was about, how do I broach the topic was, I'll just launch it. I was spending some time, a couple of times. Yesterday was one, and then the day before yesterday, I think, was another, where I received an email, and someone was telling me that we needed to change something or do something, and in one of my businesses. And my first thought was, well, you don't understand. This is, you're acting as if I should have done this, I should have known this, and yet the tool you're giving me to do it, the way you're explaining it, is not accurate. And so I wanted to explain to them why they were perhaps incorrect, had an incorrect view, why we were justified, or I was justified in either not taking the action that they wanted me to take, or not doing it in exactly that way that they wanted, right? So there was this effort. I was expending time, I was expending thought processes and focus on this issue. But then after I had focused on it for a time, both days, I looked at what I had written, and I could have sent the email at that moment. But that's when I realized, I thought, well, what good is this going to do? And this morning, and so I didn't send it. And I just kind of thought, well, that's kind of a negative thing to focus on. And it wasn't until this morning when I was walking that I kind of realized, oh, wait a second. I'm focusing on limitations. I'm trying to explain limitations. I'm trying to create resistance to something. And it's like whatever you focus on gets bigger. That's the issue, right? So what do I want to focus on bad things for? What do I want to focus on undesirable things for? So don't focus on them. They exist, yes. Don't make them bigger. So focus on what you want. And that's what all of these channels say. What do you want? Focus on that. Address these little things in the most minimalist way possible. If there needs to be an explanation, just give it a very quick, minimal explanation. If there needs to be action, even if you feel like it's not something that they understand, or it's putting you out just a little bit, if it's not that big of a deal, just do it. Get it off your plate. Move on. Focus on what you want to achieve, what you want to see bring about in your life. Don't give any time. Give as little time as you possibly can to what you perceive as negative occurrences. I think, who was it? Someone was telling me, it was another podcast, Susan Lynn. She was saying that she was going for a walk, and she was in an alleyway behind her home. I guess it was lined with garages, right? One of those alleyways with garages that face out. And so she found a nail. She thought, I'm going to pick that up so it doesn't get in anyone's tire. And the more she picked up, the more she walked, the more nails she found. And so she'd keep picking them up. And, it wasn't long before she's driving down her alleyway and she gets a nail in her tire. And so she was laughing, saying, focusing on all of these nails just made more of them. And it doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, I think, well, if I focus on, let me do something very helpful. Let me pick up this garbage. Let me pick up the nail. Let me, a little bit of that is probably great. But if you're focused on it, then unwittingly you create more of it. It doesn't, I'm just trying, I can't even wrap my head around it. But apparently that's the way the universe works. So being a good Samaritan is maybe not quite the best use of your time. Not that you shouldn't be kind and good, but if you're distracted from your true focus, which should have some really great benefits for other people too, then you're probably creating the wrong thing. So there we go. 14 minutes worth of that. But I think that covered everything. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Live truly in the now and think of your highest excitement, the thing that will bring you the greatest amount of joy, relief, satisfaction. Those are my thoughts for today.